How's your day going, Mark?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, busy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, things are really picking up right now.
I know. It almost feels like 2020, 2021 right now.
Almost. Yeah,
Right?
we're not that far off. I usually track how busy we are by the number of applications that come in on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And it's up there.
It's up there. I've noticed the highest some of these people produced back in 2020, they're producing more now. It doesn't have that same vibe of like you're shooting fish in a barrel and you're just doing these refinances. You have to earn your money, but I feel like there's more business now that people can capture than there was back then.
Sure. And I feel like part of the reason for that is maybe because there's less quality loan officers left in the business. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of people that have dropped off. It might be the same amount of business as it was last year, but like so many people have exited the business that there's less people doing that business.
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 or 3 years was kind of like a big test.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest. And I remember we went through that back in, gosh, I think it was like 08 or 09. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And like most of the loan officers just got weeded out of the business.
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't really belong in the business to begin with. But I think this is a little different. We came off these like high highs, 2019, 2020, 2021 record years. And then we were so used to it.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like pump the brakes. I think the loan officers that survived really just cranked down on their process and their discipline and ultimately building relationships. And I think that's what gives you longevity in this business and probably most businesses, right?
You're right. It was like a shock to the system coming from 2021 to 2022 and then seeing the rates like drive from 5 to 6. Do you remember they were like 8% for a little while?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was like embarrassed, like I was like afraid to tell the client what the interest rate was going to be, you know? It's like,
exactly.
Oh, it starts with an E.
Yeah.
What?
And it's hard to tell them like, hey, the rates are going to come down when they're going up like 0.5% every couple months.
It was nuts. But hey, people still had to buy. They had to buy and we made the best out of it. We ended up refinancing a lot of those people down as the rates started trending back down.
Yeah.
We're back into the 5s in most cases right now.
Yeah.
It's not a bad time.
No, it's really not. And to go back to what you're saying about the relationships piece, I think that's who lasted. There's so many people that were just so transactional that were only focused on like getting that one deal done. Those are the people that are gone. All the people that focus on relationships, even during a refi market, those are the people that won.
I think about myself and like I've obviously, I've been in this business for a long time. So when I first started in this business, I was one of those loan officers where it was just like a transaction.
Yeah.
I was working those online leads and I was like this refi king, right? Didn't really have too much experience with purchase transactions. And of course, when we had this big meltdown, I had to make a mental shift. And it was like, okay, well, the refinance leads are not coming in anymore. What do I need to do? And so I started talking to a lot of the old timers in the business and they said, look, refinances come and go, right? And if you're just a refinance loan officer, your bank account balance is going to go up and down with the interest rates. What you want to do is focus on relationships, focus on real estate agents who are going to feed you those purchase leads, build relationships. So I was like, okay, sounds cool. Let me try that out. I started hitting the street, started going to, any real estate agent event I can find. And one agent turned into 3 to 6 to 10, until one day I look back and I'm like, wow, I have like hundreds of relationships with real estate agents. So I think that's the key right there is if you want to get to the next level, you can't think about that quick fix, refinance deal, make that commission and move on. You need to think about building relationships with real estate agents, building relationships with your existing clients, asking for referrals, and actually providing value, right? Instead of just pushing paper.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed. If your main thing is how do I add value to this person across from me? Ways you showed up for that realtor or for that borrower or whatever it was. Sometimes it's like you had a tough case and you're the one who had to like figure it out, right? So those were just, that was technical skill. Or it was like you kept feeding this person like very good information without asking for anything in return. And it's just, the mindset shift has to be like, not what can I get out of this conversation? What can I get out of this interaction? Like I'm going to spend 5 minutes or 20 minutes with this person. I expect, X amount of dollars back. It's like, how do I build a relationship with this person by adding value to them and not expecting anything in return? Somehow it just works.
Absolutely, yeah. It's called delayed gratification, right?
Yeah.
And so
they don't have that these days.
They don't have that. Yeah, exactly. And so this is the key is like, okay, a lot of people jump into industries for the quick fix, instant gratification, make a quick buck. But the ones who last, the ones who actually build a brand, the ones who are providing value are the ones that are okay with, or had to learn how to be okay with, delayed gratification, right? Do something today that you don't even know if you're going to benefit from it. But the key is in the actions that you're taking. You don't necessarily see how this is going to come back to you, but somehow, some way it does, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all about putting out good positivity, providing value. And one way or another, you're going to get compensated for it. It might not be today, it might not be next week. It could be 6 months or a year down the road from whatever you did today. And so that's the key, is like shift that mindset and just do good every day, provide value. Don't think about how much money you're going to make on each deal. And, things will come around and it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah. Anytime I'm talking to a client, realtor, or anyone, I imagine, like, let's say if this person was my sister or my brother, like, what would I tell them to do?
Exactly.
And I come from that position, one in which, like, I'm trying to give them guidance as to what it is, but I'm not going to be hung up on their reaction, the result. I'm just going to do, if my brother came to me and said, I'm thinking about buying this house, do you think I should buy it? I'm going to give that client the same advice I would give my brother. And that's how we're going to build a relationship, because that's how you can build it off trust. It's not about them buying it. It's about what is the right thing for this person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe in that. And, we obviously share that same mentality, and numbers don't lie, right? And so when people ask me, what do you do? What's your secret to success? I mean, it really just boils down to your thoughts and your mindset, right? And so everything is rooted there. And then from there, it's what actions you're taking, staying consistent, staying disciplined, providing value, and making sure you're focused. And so it's an accumulation of many different small things. People are always shocked. They're always looking for that one answer, right? They think it's like one thing. It's never one thing, right? If I were to say it's one thing, it's mindset. And they're like, oh my God, that's so broad, right?
Yeah.
So
it's being consistent, and like, it pays results. With this mindset, where did it take you? Like, how much did you fund last year?
It was over 100 million.
It was over 100. I think it was like 130 million. And it was in one of the hardest markets.
Yeah. I've been pretty consistent. I mean, if you look at 2022, 23, 24, 25, pretty consistent, right at or right above 100 million.
Yeah.
I remember when 100 million was like the impossible.
Yeah.
It's really not. I think in 2021, we funded like $250 million. And I look back and I'm like, gosh, I don't even know how I did that.
Yeah.
Right? When you're in it, you just keep moving, keep charging. But ultimately, I think it boils down to having the right systems, the right protocol, and then of course, having the right people to execute on that. A lot of people don't know this, but before the record years, I had spent 2 or 3 years just honing our process and procedures down. And so for me, 2020, 2021, was kind of like, okay, now we're putting our systems to the test.
Yeah.
My team obviously did phenomenal. And I remember we were even using Calyx Point back then, which, I think back right now, I'm like, oh my God, it's like, but you work with what you have.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect, but we always had intentions of improving every single day. And so we would have weekly meetings, right? Like, we're having weekly meetings to talk about what's working, what's not working, what should we, continue doing, what should we stop doing. If something's working, let's try to double down on that. We always had intention of getting better and ultimately providing a better product for the consumer. And better meaning not just interest rates, but like, get it done fast, get it done by providing amazing communication, get it done with the realtor feeling like, oh my God, these guys are amazing, I'm going to work with them forever, right? It really paid off. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of growing pains. But once you get those process and procedures in, doing 100 million, honestly, for me, it's a breeze now, right?
Yeah. I see it from the outside, right? Like, I see how your team operates. I see how the lead comes in, goes to the next person, your LOA handles it, puts together whatever they need to do. So you're literally in front of the client, creating a relationship, giving value. That person then takes the file and pretty much puts it all together between them and your processing, which your processors are rock stars, and then moves it together to get it to the finish line. And you just call in, you check in. Fires, like, if there's a major fire, you step in, you handle it, but otherwise, like, they got it. You can't scale unless you build something like that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important lessons I learned years ago is, if you want to do more, you have to do less. And people are like scratching their heads when they hear that. The key is to, in a sense, fire yourself from 90% of the tasks and focus on the 10% that moves the needle on your sales. So if I were to ask you, as you know, if you're a loan officer and I were to ask you, hey, what do you do every day? Write this down on a piece of paper. You'd probably fill out like 2 or 3 pages of from the moment you wake up, you're checking your emails, you're responding to text messages, you're putting out fires, talking to underwriters, dealing with appraisal situations, whatever the case is. If you're a one-man show, you're doing a ton of work, right?
Yeah.
You're doing some processing work, you're doing some LOA work, you're doing loan officer work. You're also your own marketing associate, right?
Yeah.
You're working on open house flyers on a Friday night. How do I know all this? I was that guy.
Yeah.
And so one day I had to figure it out, and I'm like, okay, I need to fire myself. So what I did is I asked myself, what is it that I would choose to do every day if I had a lot of help, right? I would choose to build relationships, talk to clients, do the things that I love to do, right? Do the consulting part of it. But if the application comes in, it's probably not my highest and best use to chase W-2s and pay stubs.
Yeah.
And so my number one priority became, who's my next hire? Who am I going to hire that I can just offload all of these tasks to?
Yeah.
And so that's the process I went through. And it took a couple of years to really figure it out, to really find the right people for the position.
Yeah.
But once you get the right people and the right procedures down, it just clicks. And now it becomes easier to do more volume than when I was a one-man show doing only 5 or 6 deals a month, right? And so that's the secret. The secret is you need to focus on the process and procedures, or join a team that already has it figured out. It's really not that difficult.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, what was the thing that you tell your LOAs?
Oh, okay. So, communication was key, and the team taking thorough notes, detailed notes, was very important, right? And so whenever we were training new team members, I would say, listen, when you're writing these notes, okay, you have to be super thorough, right? Because if you leave town for the next 2 months, the next team member needs to be able to know exactly where that file was and what all the details were, right? And so, funny story. One time I'm training this new loan officer assistant years ago, and I kept using that example. I said, hey, if you're going to go on vacation for 2 months or 3 months, or if you get abducted by aliens, right? If you get abducted by aliens, he's like, Mike, you always say that. Why do you always say abducted by aliens? I'm like, listen, I go, for you, we'll modify it. I'll say, what if you go to prison for 2 months? So it was just a funny thing. But the point was, make sure you're not, short with your notes. Make sure it's as detailed as possible.
Yeah.
So if you do disappear for whatever reason, we're not all lost, right? So that was very important. So again, it really boils down to having the right people on the team as well that are going to be able to carry out the process and procedures.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the toughest parts of building out a team.
Yeah. Beginning, it's tough. That's hard. Let's say like doing $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Going from 20 million to $40 million a year, you have to really like dial in your systems, because then you can't be a one-man show. It's figuring out that person to bring on your team, how to train them on what's important, make them part of your system, like make them part of you, like an extension of you. I'll give you an example of what I did, because I'm not a good teacher. I don't know how to do a lot of these things, but I do know what it takes to be a successful loan officer. So at the time, I wasn't a good teacher. Now I'm a little bit better. But back then, my first junior loan officer, LOA, whatever you want to call them, I was like, okay, I have a lot to teach you, but I'm doing $200 million a year. I can't do this. I can't stop and teach you. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get the office next to me. It's going to be a little office. I'm going to put a hole in the wall, and I'm going to put a sliding glass door in there. And I was like, Armand, you sit in this office. And then I took all my phone calls on speakerphone.
Yeah.
So literally all I did was like, I talked to people on speakerphone, and this poor guy had to sit there for like 4 months and just listen to my BS constantly all throughout the day. And eventually started like picking it up, and he would come and ask me, why did you say this? Why did you say that? And I would just kind of go back and forth and answer for him.
Yeah.
So by the time I was ready to let him integrate into my process, he knew how I answered questions. He knew my scripts. He knew how to explain supplemental taxes. He knew how to explain why there's prepaid interest on a closing, like how impound accounts work. He knew all that kind of stuff, but it was easier than sitting him down and just teaching him things, because I feel like people don't learn. I'm just going to throw him into it at a very low risk place.
You're right. I did something similar to that. It's like I would have my LOAs right outside of my office so they can hear me.
Yeah.
And it was all glass, so I can see what they're doing and they can hear me and see me. I think the point here is a lot of it, and this is very true with my kids, for example, right? A lot of it is not taught, but it's caught.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good
point.
point.
So like if I try to teach something, sometimes it just goes right in one ear and out the other, right?
Yeah.
But people learn well by watching you, by listening to you, right? And asking you questions about things that they're interested in. So that was a pretty clever tactic for you to punch a hole through the wall there.
I didn't have like a choice. I was like too tired. I couldn't like figure out how else to do it. I'm like, okay, I can't stop every minute and try to have him come to me with
So now,
questions.
did you do it yourself? Like, did you just come to work one day with a saw and so everyone was like, Artin's he's gone nuts.
I was at that place. I mean, this, the thing is like, what's kind of funny is like, it's not that far off because it's like, these things come out of necessity. I wish I could learn it the easier way, but like I'm hard-headed. And basically it got to the point, I think in 2020, where it was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I literally could not take on any more applications. I could not deal with another fire. I could not do anything else. Like I needed to have someone that I can offload things onto. Otherwise I was going to break. Can you believe there was a moment in time where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I think I'm going to quit.
And I bet you anything, you were probably making the most money you've ever made at that time.
That's the crazy thing.
Right.
It was like you're making 7 figures and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what does that even come from? It tells you how much quality of life matters,
Yeah, exactly. And so if I were to summarize, process, procedures, and the right people behind it will literally give you a longer life, a healthier life.
For sure.
Right? Because then you're not, just burning out, trying to keep up.
Yeah.
I think there's something interesting there. A lot of loan officers subconsciously don't want more business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they know that if they get if a realtor or a bunch of realtors call them up tomorrow and give them like 20 new loans, right? They wouldn't know how to deal with it.
They would die. Yeah.
They wouldn't know how to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
It's going to impact their health. It's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And so that's the issue right there. It's like if you subconsciously are working against your success, right? Then what do we need to do to make sure that you're set up right for higher volume?
Yeah.
And so they need to stop what they're doing. And their number one priority would be, let me adopt a system that's going to work for high volume.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like every time we were going to adopt a new system, new process, whatever the case was, right, that everybody in the team is going to utilize, I wouldn't build it for only 5 or 10 loans.
Yeah.
I would give it the stress test of like, would this still work if we were funding 100 units a month, 200 units a month?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And because whenever we get to new heights, you and I both know it's like there's new problems and new solutions that we need to figure out. Well, why not just like overbuild it from the get-go? So then when we get to that point, it doesn't break.
Exactly. I noticed that too. It was like whenever I created space, more stuff filled in it. My question was always, how do I create enough space where I have like the capacity? And then as soon as my capacity grew, more loans came in.
100%. And I realized that about 10 years ago. It's like, hey, I met this amazing loan processor. I really want to hire her, but I don't have the volume just yet. Screw it, let's hire her. We would hire her, hire that extra LOA, and guess what? We would grow to maximize them and our capacity. So for me, it was always a balancing act. It's like, beef up operations, sales will go up. Beef up operations, sales would go up. Of course, there's some variables with the markets and things like that. Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of truth in that, Artin.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing our production from last year to this year double. And it's like, okay, what do we do? It's not sustainable to keep it where it is. And it was because we hired the right people and put them on the right seats on the bus.
Yeah. I mean, we got something really good going on over here. I mean, honestly, I love being here. It's been about a couple of months now. I'm in my groove. The people are amazing. Systems are amazing. We're banking, we're brokering. We have affiliate real estate companies that we work with. I mean, it's amazing right now. I'm loving it.
Yeah. I think we have something really special here.